It's so wonderful to be here. And frankly, if you just look around this room and the amount of energy and power and dynamism and enthusiasm we can feel, I think there is no need to discuss this topic at all, whether leadership has any gender. Uh, so I come from a country and from a tradition where the main three gods are women. Durga, Lakshmi, and Saraswati. Durga is the goddess of defense. Lakshmi is the goddess of wealth and finance, and Saraswati is the goddess of knowledge. So, all three main portfolios, in that sense, are with women. And as the honored Shri Ravi Shankar ji shared, we were also a country where a woman was a prime minister for 18 years. So, for me, it is very comfortable to think about leadership as being genderless, to think about leadership, in fact, as research is showing more and more of how effective and more powerful or more productive it is when it is led by women. So, we all know the answers many times. I want to share 4 points from my own life's learnings. I have been in a professional career now close to 3 decades, held many leadership positions. So I'm going to share 2 points of what I think all of us who in leadership positions already are, that we can do to help other women come up the leadership ladder, and 2 things that we as women can do ourselves. So the first point in what we can do to facilitate more women leaders is what I call pounding the perception. I want to tell you a story. Last year I was inaugurating a conference of ours in Oslo, and the Prime Minister of Norway was with us, and she did the keynote speech. So I was telling a friend of mine back in India that the Prime Minister of Norway inaugurated our conference, and maybe this friend didn't know, he didn't know about who this candidate was, and he said, "What did he say?" It was a woman. It is a woman even now. And I was telling somebody in Norway that our external affairs minister, said this and this. And this person also said, "What did he say?" And I said, "No, that was a woman again." Many times when I write articles and I say that the leader, she said, people write to me that, there was a typo, it should be he. So there is a very ingrained prejudice, or that preconceived notion, that paradigm that leaders are men. I mean, of course there are men, but there are more and more leaders who are women. Would you agree? So all of us as the global community, I think, have to work towards pounding that perception, doing away with that perception that only men can be leaders and women cannot be leaders. And that we can do by encouraging more women from our teams to take bigger roles, encouraging them, trusting them to take more responsibility, and facilitating that journey. Because those of us who are sitting here are already very fortunate. We already have reached a certain level. So that, I would say, is the first point, pounding the perception. The second point, I would say, is dealing with the double whammy decades. I call them the double whammy decades. Basically, the age from 25 to 45 for women are a very tough time. Professionally, those of us who are in professional careers, we are progressing, we are growing. That's the time for us to rise ahead. Biologically is the time for us to have children and do childbirth, rearing our family. And by the time you reach mid 40s is probably the time we are dealing with elder care in our families. And it is the truth that women are primary home carers. So how can we help women deal with these double whammy decades where you are growing professionally? That is your time to really rise. But at the same time, your personal and family responsibilities are almost in, conflict. Would you agree? So, if I look at my own LinkedIn profile and look at my girlfriends whom we started out with, so many of them have just fallen off the professional radar because of these reasons. So again, this is what I speak to many institutions, companies I work with, and places I go to, an international fora like that we have to work to make sure that it becomes easier for women to deal through and walk through, move ahead through these double whammy decades. Actually, there is a lot of stuff happening now. There are creches in in institutions. Women are being allowed flexible work hours, but we need to do more. So that is the double whammy decade. I'm the president also of a university, and we recently took a decision that our young professors, when they deliver children, if they wish to come back to work immediately, we provide them on-site creche facilities so that they can bring their babies to work, and then they don't have to worry anymore about how they are being taken care of. So we have to collectively do this. So the first two points externally are pounding the prejudice and dealing with the double whammy decades. Now I want to come to two things which we as women want to do, should do, I feel. It has been my effort myself to do it. The first is, and Shri referred to it, I call it the self-care for our own resilience. Self-care for resilience. I heard the story, Fatima is not here. It was very touching to hear her. We met some of us. Each of us has a story. We all have a past. Can we rise above our past? Can we leave behind our past so that the potential of this moment becomes available to us, so that the future is available to us? Sometimes I meet my girlfriends and, my sisters from different parts of the world, where I feel we are letting our past strangle our present and our future. And personally, I have experienced the power of meditation, the joy of meditation, and how that has helped me relieve myself, free myself from all these unwanted sort of baggage, if you call it, so that now I am free, now is good, and then really move ahead. So our own self-care, mental, emotional, physical, of course, helps us build that resilience. I have found meditation as a very powerful tool, has helped me greatly. I would recommend that to all of you. So that would be my first thing for all of us to do personally for ourselves. And the second thing, I think it's great we are here, we are doing it, is the power of the network. Half of us in the world are women, and we have incredible stories, we have incredible capabilities. We should do more to reach out when we need help, and we should do more to reach out to help. Both the things. I find again amongst my friends and sisters, even amongst my women colleagues, that we are hesitant to ask for help. We feel that I have seen women who feel that if you ask for help, you might be considered maybe little not so strong, or maybe even weak. I don't think there's a problem. It's a flat world we are living in today. It's an interconnected, globally interdependent world we are living in. We should leverage the power of our network. What do you think? And that is why participating in events, speaking at events, I tell my even girl students in our university, don't lose a single chance to speak at an event. And today we are our own event, because I can keep my phone and record a story and put it on YouTube, and that's it. I don't need anyone else. So tell our story, meet other women. Shri was referring about the International Women's Conference. In fact, I'm very delighted that one of my personal idols, whom I consider my very, very big idol, is my sister Bhanumati Narsimhan, Bhanu Didi we call her, and she has envisioned, and about 14 years ago, she started this platform for bringing women of the world together. And every 2 years, about 1,000, 1,200 women from 100 countries come together only for this reason: reach out and be reached out. And I think that is very important. So self-care for our own resilience and exploring and leveraging the power of the network, I think, are two things we can do for ourselves. Because I feel that the power that we are seeking is within us. And if we leverage that, if we just free ourselves to let it express itself, there is nothing that can stop us. And I look at my own life as an example of that. So it's really great to share these few moments with all of you. And, one more point I'm going to take the liberty to add is, I was very touched when Shri spoke about, the fact that we wear winter clothes in winter, summer clothes in summer. I feel that as women, there are certain core values we stand for. There are certain things that are core to us. And I don't think we should let go of them just to be considered as somebody in a position. It's lovely to see all of us in our beautiful traditional clothes in color. Life is there to be celebrated. It is not there to be, trudged along. And many times I go for meetings where I'm the only one in pink or purple or red or blue in my traditional Indian clothes. And sometimes people look at me and think maybe this is not so serious or superfluous. And I think that prejudice and those paradigms also we have to change, so that we stand for truly who we are and what we are as a gender. What do you say, ladies? Yes? So thanks for listening to me, and thanks for having me. All the best to you. Good wishes. Namaste.